Up? Dr. Chad with Energy Physio. If you wonder what Energy Physio is, you can check us out at energyphysio.com. This message is particularly for aspiring physical therapists. All right, so if you're already in PT school, it's probably too late. If you're already graduated and working, you're probably realizing a lot of the things I'm going to talk about today. So it's really too late. Never too late to do something different, though. But here's the deal. These are going to be the top 5 things that I've learned just in the last 9 years or so in being a physical therapist. I've worked a couple of corporate gigs, and now I work for myself. We have a growing cash pay clinic, so we don't affiliate with any insurances. We simply deliver value beyond our price point to our patients, and that's the real key. So I'm in a little different scenario now, but looking back, hindsight's always 20/20, and probably if I could go back and do it all again, I wouldn't do it all again. And here's why. Okay, so you're 20, 21, 22, you think, hey, I want to be a PT, and let's just say your thought behind that is like, I want to help people, and PTs make a lot of money. Okay, well, search the national, median salary, which you're not going to start at the median, by the way. And let's just say that median salary is 90. Well, you're probably going to start at somewhere between 60 and 70. And even if you started at 90, 90 is not a lot of money. Okay, $90,000 is not a lot of money. And if you make 90, even if you make 100, okay, Uncle Sam's going to take 25 or 30%. You're going to increase your lifestyle, and that's going to take another 30 or 40%. And really, by the time you pay your loans, pay Uncle Sam, pay all your, lifestyle things that you picked up, your house, your cars, your mowers, all that cool stuff, you don't have a lot of money left over. All right. And so making less money is, I think, to be very selfish if you have the power to make more money, because you can't help other people if you can't help yourself. All right. And $90,000 is just not a lot of money. All right. So, looking back, I was thinking, hey, 75K is a lot of money. And it seems like that when you're 22 and you don't make any money. But you get out and life goes on, inflation goes up, and you quickly realize 75 is not that much. All right. So if you're in it for the money, I don't think it's a great place to be. All right. Your school is going to cost you double what you're going to make. And so it's just in that term, it's a bad investment. And if you want to help people, it's a near infinite amount of ways you can help people without being a physical therapist. So if you like movement, if you like science, if you like anatomy, if you like fitness, there are plenty of other ways you can go. And, I'm happy to chat you through that. And some of this stuff is, it's going to change, and we'll get to that. But as it sits right now, if you're in it for the money and you want to help people, I don't think physical therapy is the best way you can do that. Now, if you don't care how much money you make, I think that's stupid, because life requires money, and you're quickly going to realize, like, if you don't care about money, you're not going to have any. And when you're not going to have any, you're going to be stressed and anxious and scrounging all the time, living paycheck to paycheck. It's not a great way to live. All right. So, hey, if I can do this, boom, it's not a lot of money. All right. That's number one. And that was the first thing I realized, like, okay, we got out, we're doing good. We're buying our houses and our cars. And then all of a sudden we don't have any money. And by the way, you shouldn't have to go to school to be broke. All right. You can be broke by not going to school and not doing anything. So it doesn't make sense to go to school to do something and only make enough money just to be broke. All right. So just something to consider when you're thinking about PT school. Number 2, it will not be like what you think. All right. So I went to school and I knew the whole time I'm outpatient orthopedics all the way. And so just like the rest of your educational career, you're going to have to learn a lot of crap that you're not going to use. Okay. And you're going to waste a bunch of time and a bunch of money on a bunch of useless information that you're never going to use. Now, if you're going into PT school and you're thinking, well, I don't really know what I want to do. Maybe it's orthopedics or inpatient or, neuro or whatever, home health, doesn't matter. If you're using PT school to figure out what area of PT you want to be in, maybe that's not as big of a factor. But at the end of the day, you're going to settle on one thing, and then all that time and money and things you had to learn will have been wasted. But no matter what field you go out into, there's almost like this students' optimism of how it's going to be, right? So I thought, oh, outpatient orthopedics is going to be so great. I'm going to work with this patient and I'm going to do all my cool manual therapy stuff and I'm going to get them better so much faster than anybody else and blah, blah, blah. And then you get out in the clinic and you got 4 patients an hour, even though the companies you're working for say, oh, we only require an average of 11 patients a day. Okay, well, what that means is you got 20 patients on the schedule all the time. You're seeing 2, 3, 4 patients an hour because you're going to have days where you got 25 people on the schedule and half of them don't show up and then it wipes your average out. But the truth is, in the in-network setting, which is where most physical therapists are going to land, insurance runs the show. And insurance reimbursement is so low, you have to see a high volume of patients. And the higher volume of patients you see, the less quality you can provide during that time. And the worse it's going to be on your lifestyle. You're going to see lots of patients. You're going to do lots of documentation. And I'm just telling you, they're not going to tell you this in school, and they're not going to tell you this when they're trying to hire you. But you are going to see way more patients than you want. You're going to do way more documentation than you want. And it's just not going to be like what you thought it was. All right. So don't be disillusioned going into the deal like I was. Okay. I went in thinking it was going to be, sunshine and rainbows and patient care was great. I'm helping a lot of people. And really, I was seeing so many people, I could barely help anybody. And then I was taking, 3 hours of documentation at the end of the day. So no matter what you think or what field you think, and this is not necessarily PT specific, this is probably every industry, right? How you think it's going to be, it's not going to play out like that in real time. All right. There is no professional protection. And this is something that I'm just recently learning. All right. So just inside of the healthcare space, physical therapy is fighting against athletic trainers and chiropractors. Now, I don't think there there's a feud between everybody. Everybody's taking everybody else's market share, and that's why it's a problem. But the real problem is, like, physical therapy doesn't have anything that's its own. Like, we can't do chiropractics. We technically can't do manipulations, and we can't technically do athletic training, should we want to do that. But somehow athletic trainers and chiros can offer physical therapy. And oddly enough, they have the same diagnosis and treatment codes that physical therapists have. So there's really no protection in our own space. Sure, there's job protection and people are always going to get hurt. People are always getting older. But the marketplace is filling up with people who can choose to go to 2 or 3 other different professionals to get the same thing done for the reason you went to school forever and paid a bunch of money to be able to help them with. And they're not even going to choose you because the chiropractor marketed better and the athletic trainer, had more connections than you did. It doesn't matter. You just need to know, like, when you're going to do physical therapy, you're going to be also fighting the marketplace against chiropractors and athletic trainers, and that's just the way it is. Another realization is that students are graduating physical therapy school with entry-level knowledge, and they never move past that. And they end up doing just a bunch of basic therapeutic exercises in the clinic. And so now what we're seeing is actually personal trainers and strength and conditioning coaches telling their clients who have pain, you don't need to go to physical therapy. I can do the same thing for you. And technically it's true, because a monkey can give somebody clamshell, straight leg raises, and TheraBand external rotations, right? Those things really are the lowest level, but yet we see these in the clinic extending into 20-year veterans. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's why so many other people in the movement space and the physical space are claiming they can and will do the same things. All right. And this has become really apparent for me after starting a business, because now we market direct to the community. And so how we market makes a lot of difference. If you're working at the in-network clinic down the street, they're just funneling patients in through doctor's referrals, and it's not that big of a deal. But you need to know somebody else out there without credentials is probably doing the job better than a physical therapist who went to school for it. So not a lot of job protection there, because a lot of other people are doing the same things you're going to go to school and spend a bunch of money to learn how to do, when really it's probably unnecessary. There's no upward mobility. All right. When you graduate as a staff physical therapist, let's say you go to work for any company, okay, a large company, right? You're going to take salary increases over time. I also think that's going to be minimized to a large degree in the next 8 or 10 years because insurance reimbursement is declining. Overhead and inflation and benefits and all that stuff keeps going up every year, and reimbursement's going down every year. It's a bad business model, and it can't last forever. But let's say you go to work for one of these companies. Okay, each clinic location only has one ladder. All right, and if you're a staff PT, you can't get to the next rung unless the facility manager, clinic manager, whatever they want to call it, clinic director, goes somewhere else or moves up. All right, so you're just going to be a staff therapist as long as the clinic manager above you is still there. Now, maybe that guy moves up to regional manager, which is great, but now he's no longer treating, which is okay, but you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off because you're managing, 10 or 12 other clinics. And if that's not your gig, then the upward mobility really disappears. Like if you're don't want to make more money for driving around, talking to other therapists and showing them how to improve their metrics at their clinic, then that's great. And even still in the space, let's say you go to clinic manager and you make 125 or 150, still not a lot of money. All right. More money than you were making for sure, but it's still not a lot. In the grand scheme of things, 125, 150, not a lot of money. So you just got to be careful going out into the corporate world thinking in physical therapy that, there's no ladder you can't climb because somebody is on the ladder with you and you can't just push them out of the way and climb over. All right. So there's really not a lot of place you can go. There's not a lot of wiggle room to increase your salary in the physical therapy space unless, like me, you open your own clinic, which certainly not an easy thing to do, and it's not for everybody. And maybe the biggest thing to consider, I think by 2030, it's going to be way different. All right. Already mentioned, like insurance reimbursement is trickling down every year. All right. We're already seeing, profit margins from the past at, 20 or 30%. Now we're looking at, 4, 5, 6% profit margins. Okay. And for those of you who are a student and you don't understand what that is, profit margin is basically you make all the money, you pay all the expenses, you pay, and then your profit margin is what's left over, right? This is how business owners get paid on the profit margin. And so, profit margins are going down, 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 down because rent goes up every year, salaries go up every year, benefits increase every year, but the price per session goes down every year because in-network centers do not control their pricing. Insurance control their pricing, and rightly so. They're decreasing it because honestly, who's providing just a ton of value beyond the price point in the in-network setting? I don't think it's really prevalent. So it's going down because it's not perceived as valuable. You see reimbursement going up on things that perceive as highly valuable, like surgical procedures, right? Injections. MRIs seem to be creeping up, even though they provide no solution for anything. It's just a picture. But by 2030, I think reimbursements are going to become so low that in-network centers are going to have to start flipping out of network so they can have greater control over their pricing, or they're going to have to supplement hard with products, like selling products for cash, figuring out how to do that. But the big problem then becomes PT school is designed around creating entry-level therapists, giving people the skills required to be a hireable asset for some other company. But quickly, what's going to happen when people start flipping out of network, the best skill you can have that nobody's going to have is sales. All right. They've got the marketing, they're still marketing to physicians. They can market to the community. And a lot of these big companies have big money behind their marketing, but they don't require sales because they're drawing everything in from doctors' referrals or even word of mouth from direct access. But as long as people are using their insurance, it's not about, are you delivering value beyond your price point? It's, can I use my insurance, yes or no? And as long as it's free, then people don't really care what the end result is or what the value is until they get their bill 5 months later and they're like, whoa, 4K. I didn't anticipate that. And then they're mad about the care they received because they did not get 4K's worth of care. So if you're thinking about being a PT, you don't care about the money. You don't care that it's going to be different than what you think it is. You don't care that really there's no professional protection in that chiros and athletic trainers and strength and conditioning coaches and personal trainers are technically all doing the same things you're going to do. And if you don't care that like, hey, I'm going to come in and make 80K for the rest of my life, great. But consider this. If you're going to do that, you need to become great at sales. You need to be great at selling yourself, and you need to be great at selling what you can provide to create the result somebody is looking for. Because 8 years from now, 10 years from now, the only way physical therapy centers are going to make money is selling somebody on why they should come to them to solve their problem. All right. Right now, it's not about problem solving. Right now, physical therapy centers, the patient is the patient, but the client is the insurance company. It's this weird love triangle where nobody gets what they want. But that's going to flip. As soon as people start going out of network, you're going to have to know how to sell a solution where the value is beyond the price point to get people to commit to a plan of care, stay, and refer the friends. All right. So if you're thinking about being a PT, take that into consideration, because these are the things I've learned over the last 9 years of being a PT. Half of that I was in the corporate world, half of that I've been working for myself. Just by the way, nothing to say, if you are good at sales, good at marketing, and you want to take a risk right out of school, start your own clinic. Okay, do it better, do it different. Don't ever go work for somebody else. I'm all for it. I'll help you out. Text me and email me, and I'll help you get there. You can always find me at chad@energyphysio.com. Our social channels are @energyphysio. And you can check us out on the website, energyphysio.com, see what we're all about. And, hopefully we're just cranking out more content as the days go by. We're trying to figure out how to do that more efficiently as we speak. This is one way we're doing it. So you got questions, you're thinking about being a PT and you want to bounce some ideas off of me, I'll tell you the truth. Just hit me up at my email, chad@energyphysio.com, and we'll see you later.